Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Nemeka Onyeka Oderiri, and I want to emphatically declare and submit that we do not need to charge 5% tax on fossil fuel production or consumption in Nigeria for the federal government of Nigeria to be able to generate revenue to ease transportation costs, as one of their foot soldiers, Taiwo Oyelede, posited. Now, let us face fact. It does not make sense. It does not make sense. And we must do the right things right. And I will take our time within the next 10 minutes to enunciate clearly things we should do and we must do if we are honest enough. And our desire as governors and president is not to fleece the people and destroy them the more. As of today, over 197 million Nigerians live under poverty. And by World Bank standard, anybody who lives on anything less than $64.50 is equivalent of about 100,000 naira income a month. Is regarded as poor and is entitled to social welfare interventions and all those stuff. So in Nigeria today, we have over 130 to 197 million Nigerians who are living under poverty. Nobody should even think about putting any taxes on them by way of PMS consumption. What do we do? If we are very, very sincere, we want to invest in new buses and transport infrastructure to use transport. We know what to do. What are the two factors that makes transportation costs very, very high? Cost of importation of vehicles and cost of energy, use of fuel, cost of fuel. What triggered inflation in Nigeria was when the petroleum prices the price of a liter of petroleum, they moved the price of the petroleum product PMS to the current level it is today. We have shared solutions on how this can be done. Today in Nigeria, if we want to reduce transportation costs, we know what to do. In Nigeria, for us to be able to reduce it, we need at least 700,000 cars and buses and trucks in Nigeria annually. All the assembly plants in Nigeria from Innocent to North, what they produce every year is about 14,000 vehicles, which does not even scratch the surface. Since Nigeria, we do not produce cars, we do not produce tractors, we do not produce bulldozers, we do not produce trucks and buses. These are things that we need to catalyze productivity, especially in the low-hanging agro-value chain. Right thinking people in place of power should devise either zero tariff or tariff of not more than 5%. Pass a law. It's the executive order. Pass it. I don't need to write an application to the Federal Minister of Finance to get a waiver that will take months. Of course, you know public sector corruption. That approval will have to be graced with corrupt requests before they will approve it. All we need to do is, if you're bringing in tractors, you're bringing articulated buses and trucks that will use transportation in Nigeria, just submit your invoice, bring it in. We have scanners at the port. Once customs receive the container, they will scan it. What is in your invoice? Once it coincides, what is something with what you have imported, they will clear it and you will go and utilize it for the sake of Nigeria. Then on the energy cost, I have shared with us how we can honestly reduce the prices of PMS, AGO, and other white petroleum products. We have 3 refineries in Nigeria. Public sector refineries, NNPC refineries, that were wasted over 10 trillion naira on, by word of failed turnaround maintenance programs and overhead costs. Over the last 5-8 years, under Buhari and Melekere, we wasted close to about $3 billion without any headway. I've advised on what to do. What do we do? Port Harcourt, Train 1 and Train 2 does about 210,000 barrels a day. Warri does about 125,000 barrels. Let me tell you, none of those refineries is over 55 years old. In Texas, we have refineries that are over 100 years old that are still refining. What we want to do, if we want to make it work, just like a petrochemical plant LMA is working, NAFCON is now working under the Tore Group. What we will do is very simple. We know what to do. I've advised us, we value those assets as they are. Kaduna is almost moribund than dead. It's using Venezuela heavy crude, which we don't produce here. So we can turn it into a storage facility. For Warri and Port Harcourt, we put them into a bucket, 2 of them. Value them. We value them. NNPC will sell down 80% of their shareholding in that. We are not selling it to outsiders. The members of that man can come together under that man or put themselves together. We will sell them 30%. They will own 30% because they are the depot owners. Then the remaining 50% will be sold to Nigerians under a very transparent arrangement. We will list them on the floor of Nigeria Stock Exchange, the SPV. But that SPV will be special purpose vehicle that will only do cost plus 30% margin, nothing more. And whatever they produce here is consumed here. We can collocate new refinery there, about 1,000 barrels per day capacity. With the existing facilities there, the cost of setting up that refinery there will be half of the normal cost by way of templating it. There are about 445,000 barrel crude that is earmarked for those refineries. Even if we don't want to give it to the new buyers, we can decide to provide them with marginal fuels in such a way that they can produce their own crude and use it to refine in those places. To extract a crude oil, a barrel of crude oil in Nigeria, it's about $30 to $45, and it's very inefficient because of corruption, because of inefficiency, because of a lot of things. And we know it. To reduce the extracting cost, the cost of crude oil extraction in Nigeria, we know what to do. As a nation, we need to implement different strategies. We need to invest in modernizing our infrastructure. We need to curb crude oil thievery and vandalism in Nigeria. We need to streamline regulatory processes. We need to promote local content and indigenous capacity development and participation. We need to improve technology, automation, and digital monitoring. Saudi Arabia has petroleum pipeline that is 4 times more than what we have in Nigeria. But you will never hear anybody say that a liter of crude oil in Saudi Arabia or petroleum product has been stolen by vandals. If a fly perch on their pipes, they will detect it. Those technologies are available, but those who purport to govern us or rule us will not put in place those technology, those monitoring process, because those who actually steal the crude oil are those who are supposed to protect the crude oil, and that is the bitter truth. But if we put in place this governance and transparent framework to protect our oil and gas resources, improve technology, improve infrastructure, allow this to happen, it will reduce the cost of production to at least $30 per barrel. If these guys who have been given these refineries, we can even allow them to take those refineries and pay us over 30 years. Not even need to pay anything to the federal government upfront. We value it, we know the value. Now for every of to extract is about $30. Then to refine is about $10, which is $40. Even if they are to put their $30 margin, 30% margin on it, it will come to about $52. Exchange it by the current 1535 and divide it by the byproduct of about 159 liters per barrel. We will sell every of the variants of the white petroleum products in Nigeria at a price. By the time you add the 24% margin that will accrue to depot owners and those that will truck it and at the filling stations, 24%, you will see clearly that we will streamline the energy cost in Nigeria in such a way that none of the white petroleum product, either gas oil, gasoline, or DPK, we sell at a price above 650 naira per liter. And as the global market prices are crashing, it will be affecting it too. Then we set up something like the petroleum bulk purchasing company, just like we have bet in the energy sector, that is made up of the SROs to ensure that nothing is scattered out of Nigeria. Now, for the trucks and the buses we cannot produce here, we put 5% tariff or zero tariff. This is the way you can reduce energy cost in Nigeria. Reduce transportation cost. And when we are bringing tractors today in Nigeria, we need at least 2 to 3 million tractors and bulldozers to mechanize agriculture. We need at least 2 million smart farmhouses. We need at least 25,000 trucks and the refrigerated trucks to move goods across the country in such a way that we can help us to reduce the over 3.5 trillion naira that we lose to post-harvest losses. We know what to do. We need to allow processing companies to come into Nigeria. If we do all these things, we will catalyze productivity. We will have over 20 million jobs created. We will have many people embracing agripreneurship. We will produce and export nothing than $250 billion worth of agro value chain products over the next 8 years. When we have more revenue, more jobs, more disposable income and purchasing in the hand of people, and have improved purchasing power, we can now extract more income and corporate taxes that will cover what they intend to do with this 5% they want to use to put a more burden on Nigerians. This is basic economics 101. massive coal reserve here. China is consuming almost about 5 billion tons of coal every year. They only produce about 4.5 billion tons. The 40% of their industrial complex is being run with coal. We can explore our coal, deepen our crude oil reserve. We have gas reserve of almost about 206 trillion standard cubic feet of gas, worth over 1.4 trillion. What are we doing about it? God has been so kind to bless this country with every of the natural gifts any mankind, any group of human beings can receive. All we need to do is to harness it. We have the huge human capital that will help us to harness what is on the surface of the land, beneath the land, bring in equipment that we cannot produce here, and maximize capital, generate capital. I've said it here. Our greatest export are human capital. We don't need the Bretton Woods institutions. We don't need the World Bank or anybody to invest here in Nigeria. The best investment will come from Nigerians, but with those in diaspora. If we put in place the transparent institutional policy and program framework that is very transparent and honest, Nigerians in diaspora can give us between $50 to $100 billion annually in terms of investments. This country ticks the right boxes to become a $1 trillion economy within the next 5 years. But we need to do the right things. All that comes to the head of those who are in power today is tax, collect, share, loot. We have to be playing politics. The governors and local government chairmen are doing nothing. We've shared with them templated clinical arrangement structures on how we can, under the missions committee, that's my public partnership framework, on how we can create $250 billion revenue in Nigeria in 2,500 agro clusters with over 250,000 agro rangers that will help the military and security agencies to slay insecurity in Nigeria and make this country 24/7, 365 days secure. And we can do this within 1 year. But we need smart thinking governors, smart thinking people in the presidency to harness this. Everybody is busy thinking about 2027 as if they are God. Rather than sit down, fold their sleeve, work, bring in place policies and programs that can help us to build an all-inclusive, prosperous nation. All they are thinking is about how they collect taxes, put more burden on the people, so they will have enough to share and to loot. The governors and local government chairmen are almost collecting 3 times more than what they were collecting in 2015. Where is the money? Where are the new roads? Go to Imo State. It's like a witchcraft infested centers. Go to Ibadan, you see the beautiful road networks Sheyi Makinde is doing there. Are we cursed?